Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This video is for day 100. Woohoo! We made it to day 100. Congratulations. Homework number 100 tonight. Too bad we couldn't be in school together to celebrate it, but celebrate at home. Homework 100. Woohoo! All right, so today we're going to do cumulative frequency histogram, and I usually do this the same day as regular histograms. I always do them together, a double lesson, because they are so similar. If you're learning one, you might as well just learn the other. So that's why you have two today. So the histogram that displays accumulated frequencies from the intervals in the group data is called a cumulative frequency histogram. So it's everything we learned about in the last video, except one thing changes, and it's all because of that word cumulative. So method of constructing a cumulative frequency histogram. Use the same procedure as you did for the frequency histogram, so in the previous Edpuzzle or video, with the exception being that the bar graph for each interval must correspond, so match the sum, remember sum means to add, of that interval and all the intervals that precede it. So precede it means comes before it. And the best real life thing I could explain or tell you would be, think of when I tell you the test is going to be cumulative. What does that mean? Well, you would tell me that means that I'm going to test you on what I taught you for this unit and everything that comes before it. Like the midterm is cumulative. It's cumulative for the whole entire, everything you learned from that point and before it. And that's basically what this is. So using the same example from yesterday's lesson, construct a cumulative frequency histogram. So it's very, very, very important that you look for that word. And this is what was on the Regents August a couple years ago. It was a cumulative frequency histogram. So this is the same thing we did yesterday. Those same interval lengths, the same answers, all about the test scores. So now I'm going to show you how to create a cumulative frequency. So first thing I want you to notice is the interval. If you have a cumulative frequency histogram, the interval has to be cumulative, okay? And what does that mean? Okay, so that means that this first one here, okay, they just happen to be in the same order, is the first one here, okay? Those will match. Whether it's here or here, those interval lengths will match. So you're going to always go back to this first number, okay? And now notice the next one is 51 to 70. So it's kind of like the question I asked you with the percent in the previous video. So that's 51 to 70. So it's everything from 51 to 60, which is 2. And then, which I forgot to write. And then 61 to 70, which is 4. So how much is 51 to 70 altogether? 4. Nope, try again. That would be 6. So you're taking everything from this one and you're adding what's before it. So in total, you have 6. All right, so again, notice these all go back to the beginning. So you're always going back to here. So now you're going to do 51 to 80. So 51 is here and 80 is here. So now you're looking at all three of these boxes. So 2, 4, and 5. So 51 to 80 is everything from 80 and below, everything that precedes it. So 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. Or simply take your answer for here and add the new box on, the one that goes up to 80. So 6 plus 5 is 11. Okay, the next one, 51 to 90. So that is 51 to 90. So now these boxes. So it's this point and everything before it. So again, if you want to do the shortcut, you just take this answer right here and add it to the next one. So that would be 12. Okay, or if not, go back 5 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2, add them all together. Remember, cumulative, that point and before. And the last one, 51 to 100, 51 to 100. Now you're talking about the whole entire table. So 4, 1, 5, 4, 2, add them all together. You will get 16. Okay, now what I want you to notice is that this number here and the total frequency have to match. Will match. This is your total frequency. Because essentially what you're doing when you add up all these numbers and get the total frequency 16, that's what you're doing here. 51 to 100 means you're adding up all these numbers. So they have to match. Okay, they have to match or you did something wrong. So that's a good way to check yourself. Okay, so now we want to make a histogram. And it's going to be the same rules as yesterday. Okay, or the previous video, I should say. So it's going to be X, Y, 00. You need your title. Don't forget that title. It's the #1 thing people forget, math test scores. And this is frequency, but because we're doing a cumulative frequency histogram and we're using this table, what do you think has to go right here? Just plain old frequency? Nope, it has to be cumulative frequency. So let me write this. Let me turn the paper actually. Cumulative frequency. So it's so very important that you make sure that you use the cumulative one. Okay, and then over here, again, this is going to be your interval. And what are we talking about? We're talking about test scores, math test scores, or just test scores. We'll write. Okay, and then the same rule applies. Does this start, remember, we're focusing on this one, cumulative. Does this start at 0? No, it does not. So we have to have that little break here. Okay, whether it's 1 or 2 boxes. Use break because the interval doesn't start at 0. So that's important. You want to make sure that you use the break because the interval does not start at 0. Okay, and then don't forget, which I forgot already, make sure that you number these before we go here. So now my numbers have to go up to 16. So I can't count every other. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not even going to get up. So I have to actually count by 2. So 2, 16. There we go. 18 and 20. And that's why we use pencil also, because we start counting by ones and it doesn't work. You just erase it. Okay, I'm still going to be consistent. I'm going to do about 4 bar lengths. You could do 5, you could do 3, whatever you'd like. Again, notice numerical order has to be smallest to largest. It has to be. And 51 to 100. All right, 51, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Good. And notice you're using all the cumulative. So all of them are starting back on that 51. Make sure you're focusing on that table because they're usually going to have 2 and you don't want to be confused and they use the wrong one. All right, so 51 to 60 is 2. 51 to 70 is 6. 51 to 80 is 11. So 11. So we have 2, we have 6, we have 11. 51 to 90 is 12. Notice each bar is getting higher and higher. That should make sense because we kept adding on numbers. As you continue to add more numbers, obviously something's going to get higher and larger. So 51 to 100 is 16. 16 is right here. And there you go. All right, so just make sure everything's labeled, numbers, you got your break, interval, method scores, and that's really it. So the only difference between this cumulative frequency histogram and the one before is that we added all these numbers as we went to get these new numbers. We use the cumulative interval here on the bottom, and then we use the cumulative frequency numbers right here. But basically everything else is kind of the same. So we're not going to practice another one of those. What we're going to practice is some percentiles, okay? And this should not take too long. It's similar to the shortcut that we did for the median, where we took half of the median on the table and we counted up or down. It's very, very, very similar to that. Okay, a score or measure that tells us what percent of the total population or the total frequency scored at or below a measure is called a percentile. So kind of like when you guys take like your state tests and, you know, or you get like your height from the doctor or something and they say, oh, you fall within the 70th percentile. That's kind of like what, you know, we're talking about here. The total frequency, by the way, is always the denominator. Okay, so there's going to be certain things that you have to memorize, and there's going to be these new words. We're going to use them also tomorrow when we do box and whisker plot. And when I showed you the other day when we did our stat calc, I don't know if this is going to work if I have numbers in here. Yes, I do. Stat calc 1 and stat calc 1 and we scroll down to look at the median, you saw that there were other numbers here, a min, a max, Q1, Q3. So this Q1 and Q3, quartile 1, quartile 3, lower quartile, upper quartile, it's kind of like what we're talking about right now. So you're going to hear those words a lot in the next couple days. All right, so let's tell you about those percent. So the first or lower quartile is going to be the 25th percentile. 25th percentile would mean 25%. Second quarter or median, think of like halfway. So that's going to be your 50th percentile or 50%. And then your third or upper would be 75 or 75th percentile, and that's going to be 75%. So these are the numbers that you want to remember. First or lower is 25%. Second or median is 50. Third or upper is 75. And again, you did this one yesterday already when you did the stuff on the table. So this is not new for you. Just those are new. All right, using the histogram just completed, answer the following. Now, it's important when we go to answer these, we have to use the regular frequency. If we don't use the regular frequency and we use the one, we use the cumulative, our numbers are going to be all messed up because we're not using the specific intervals. We're using the combined intervals, and then we don't really know where that person falls. So make sure we're going to focus back. Let me use a different color. We're going to focus back to here right now. Okay, I'm going to keep referring back to that. All right, so how do we do this? This is not bad at all, I promise. So in which interval does the lower quartile lie? Yesterday you did median. Now we're going to do lower quartile. So lower quartile is 25%. So I'm going to use my percents, and I'm going to multiply it by the total frequency. So our total frequency is 16. Okay, so if I think for my notes, I'm going to write here, I'm going to write steps, multiply the percent by the total frequency. Multiply the percent by the total frequency. So again, our total frequency was 16. So 25% of 16 is 4. So just like we counted yesterday with the tables, we're going to count again today. So start from the lowest. And where is your fourth person? So this is 2 people. So I don't go to the number 4. I pretend these are people lined up in order. I want to go to the fourth person. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that will end up in 61 to 70. Okay, the next one is your median. The median is half, and that's going to be 8. So if I start counting, 2 plus 4 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people. So 6, 7, 8. So the 8th person is 71 to 80. Upper quartile is going to be 75%. So 75% of 16 is 12. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's lucky number 12, and that's 81 to 90. So it's very, very similar to the concept I showed you yesterday with the tables. It's just different percents. And the percent depends on the word that they give you. All right, one more quick example. Example 2, we have our interval, we have our frequency. First of all, let's get our total frequency. Oh, that was our first question. Okay. Total frequency is 20. And then we want to know, again, the lower quartile, the median, the upper, and this, okay? And again, maybe I'll just write one more thing, just to remind you from yesterday. Make sure to start counting from the lowest interval. Okay, if you notice, I kind of just did that, but I didn't really tell you. So again, the median yesterday, it didn't matter because your middle, whether you go from the bottom to the top, is going to be the same. But if you're looking for the fourth person in line, that's going to look like a very different number. If I start counting here, a very different interval, 61 to 70. If I start counting from here, it is in 91 to 80. I can't have 2 answers. So you always want to start from the lowest. Same thing here for 12. If I start counting, we got up to here, 81 to 90. If I start counting from the highest, we're going to be in a totally different interval. So it's so important that you make sure that you start counting from the lowest. And that's why I had you doing that yesterday, just so it was easy enough for you to do today. And if you notice, I didn't even talk about it. I just kind of went right into it. but make sure you do that. So lower quartile is 25%. So we're going to do 25 of 20, and that's going to be our fifth person. So our fifth person, again, we're starting from this bottom. Our fifth person is going to be, remember this is 4, and then we have another 9, so it's going to be here, 10 to 14. Median is our halfway, so half of 20 is 10. Again, these numbers, we have to start from the lowest. So we're looking for our 10th person. So 9 plus 4 is 13, so that means somewhere in here, 10 to 14 will be our 10th person. All right, upper quartile is 75%. Again, you'll have to know these words, upper quartile, lower, median, all for tomorrow when we do box and whisker. So 75% of 20 is 15. Again, start here from the bottom. So 9 plus 4 is 13, 16. So we are somewhere in here, 15 to 19. Again, if you want to do it, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. You can actually write them out if it's easy for you to count that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's that 15th person. So whatever makes your life easier. And this one is just a totally random one, just to show you that they don't always have to give you a quartile. They can just give you a random number to make it more difficult. So we just take whatever percent they give us. And again, remember we talked about yesterday, you can't really have a portion of a person, so you just round up. So we want the 17th person. So here I believe we were 15, 16, 17. We're going to go to 20 to 24. All right, so when you're going to do your homework tonight on this, please post it on Google Classroom, homework number 100. Remember, cumulative frequency, just make sure you're using the cumulative frequency histogram table. Make sure you're using the appropriate intervals for cumulative frequency. Make sure you're adding up the numbers. Here, when you're going to do your work, lower quartile is 25, median is 50, upper is 75. Always multiply by total frequency. And make sure when you start counting these numbers, you count from the lowest. So that was quick, but hopefully it was not that bad. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.